series. Today, we are going to be going over year-end closing processes for Microsoft Dynamics Excel, presented by SIS. And welcome, everybody. Just tell you a little bit about SIS before we get started. We're founded in 1996. Our headquarters are in Duluth, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta. And we deliver business solutions that help project and service-driven companies unify their business processes and applications across the enterprise, getting them better visibility and efficiency. Our Dynamics SL team, we perform SL upgrades, lots and lots of upgrades. We can do training and implementation, brand new SL implementations and data migration. We, of course, have a fully staffed support team. We can support your SL in just about every version that's out there. We do SL cloud migrations up to Microsoft Azure and Amazon Web Services. So we have folks that are familiar with those technologies. We can also do a lot of functional things like a current state assessment, where you all are in your existing SL system and what we can do. We can do business process analysis, is where we will take a look at functional things within your different business units. And we can take that information and come up with requirements and a fit gap analysis, which will kind of give you the kinds of things that can be done to improve your current state or your business processes. And on top of all of that, we have a fully staffed custom application development team here that can do anything you need with Microsoft Dynamics SL. So that's a little bit about SIS. We also have some more webinars coming up. In January, we have the new CU5, which is the Cumulative Update 5 for Dynamics SL 2018. We're going to show you what's new and exciting with that version. We also have a security webinar in February. We're going to be talking about how to configure SL security and all the different layers that are there. And we have an on-demand webinar that you can look up at any time, and it talks about purchasing and AP automation. And it's basically the requisition solution that's out there that will link directly with Microsoft Dynamics SL. Now, we have put the links for these three, for that on-demand webinar in the bottom, and then also links for signing up for the January and February webinars in the chat window here on the webinar. If you have trouble getting that, just email us at info@sisn.com. and we will make sure we get you those links that work. Just so you know, all your phone lines are muted. If you do want to ask questions, just submit them through the question function on the GoToWebinar. And just to make sure that you see everything that we're going to show you, go to full screen mode, which is going to be a little box up in the top right-hand corner, not the X. And we are going to record this webinar, and the link for it will be sent to everybody who signed up for this webinar. So we are going to move over to Margot Phillips, and she is going to lead most of the rest of the presentation. And we're also going to have Katrina Harris help out with a few parts of the presentation as well. So I'm going to move this on over to Margot, and we'll take it from there. Thanks.
Great, thank you. I just want to make sure everybody can see the correct screen on my monitor, so I'm going to just ask in advance. Can you all see my year-end processing in Microsoft SL?
You'll want to switch it to the other screen, Margot.
Okay, sorry about that. Let me see if I can try that again. Oh, goodness. I can try this again, you guys. I apologize. How about now?
Same thing.
Oh, goodness. Okay. I'm sorry, you guys. How about now?
Perfect.
Yay.
Awesome.
Let me get my stuff out of the way and we'll go ahead and get started. So sorry about that, everybody. All right. Good afternoon. So today we're going to be talking about year-end processing in Dynamics SL. We're going to talk about all the different changes that will be taking place. Applying our year-end updates, year-end processing topics for payroll, project controller, and accounts payable. Now, this year's year-end updates will be provided for the following versions: 2018 CU1, CU2, CU3, and CU4. To obtain your year-end updates from Microsoft, log into your customer source or partner source location. This is located under the Dynamics SL Service Packs area. You'll download and install utilizing the installation instructions for your SL version. Make sure you have all your users out of the system. Take a backup of your SL system database, application database, and your custom reports. You'll run the install that is appropriate for your SL version on the SL server directly. This ensures that the files will get installed in the correct location. And for some versions, there may be a SQL update that you'll have to apply to your application database. The year-end updates will include any changes to our current year reports, any year-end resolutions, any changes to electronic filing or AP 1099s, and changes to W-2s. You'll apply your year-end updates after you have closed payroll for the year. There is a year-end update and a separate tax update that might need to be applied. So the tax table updates for the 2021 year should be applied after you have closed payroll for the 2020 year. And the year-end updates are typically released in the December timeframe. And the last I heard, they're going to come out sometime around the 21st. So we're just checking daily to see if they've been released. And your tax table updates are typically released in the December-January timeframe. We typically see them around the last week of December. Considerations. Tax reporting is done on a calendar year basis, and you're required to do a calendar year and processing for payroll and accounts payable, even if you're on fiscal periods. And you can post entries to prior periods as needed, even if the modules are closed. You must have the security enabled to allow that posting. W-2 and 1099 amounts are updated based off of the check date. Now, if you can go into the GL setup and go to your posting options tab, make sure that prevent postings to prior fiscal years is unchecked. Plumline is providing the year-end package for Microsoft Dynamics SL 2011 for versions FP1, SP2, SP3, and all 2015 versions. And this is an annual subscription. It will contain all of the year-end updates as the normal 2018 release would have. It's just recreated for 2011 and 2015. So if you need information, contact Debbie for more information. And the pricing is based off of the number of employees and vendors combined for your organization. So under 100 employees and vendors, it's $2,500. Over 100 employees and vendors, it's $3,000. Let's talk about payroll. The payroll year-end changes. The review and edit check screen supports different marital statuses for the state versus federal. The employee maintenance screen allows entry of marital status on a per deduction. The deduction maintenance has added support for higher withholding tables for the states. Deduction history added support for higher withholding tables for the states. In calculation, it supports different marital statuses for state versus federal and added support for higher withholding tables for the states. So for payroll year end, you'll need to close the year in payroll in the GL closing screen. You'll need to reconcile your 941 and unemployment reports, print your W-2s to plain paper, edit your W-2 data in employee W-2 history screen using initialized mode, print your W-2s, and then electronically file. You'll need to confirm that all of the data has been entered and processed. Review your batch register to make sure all of your batches have been released and posted. I recommend that you run that for the entire year to make sure you're not missing anything. Reconcile your payroll accounts in payroll with the GL, and you can use your account distribution and the GL trial balance. And you're going to print your period end reports, your 941 quarterly worksheet, unemployment worksheet, and your earnings and deductions report. Again, payroll will be closed with the year option in the GL closing. The new deduction records will be created for the new year in the deduction tables. Make sure you clear all calculations in payroll before closing the year, because this can cause an error. So here's a tip. If you run a check preview, you shouldn't see anything in there. Or you can run the clear calculations process to ensure that there are no open calculations. In this screen, you will choose the year option instead of period if you're on fiscal periods. All right, so steps for the year-end processing. Again, we're going to apply our year-end updates, calculate our W-2s, review our data, edit and correct if needed, print the W-2s, and we'll generate our file. Calculating W-2s. When you open your W-2 calculation screen, you will choose the current W-2 year, select the pay groups that you want to calculate for, and then you'll begin processing. You can print your W-2s to blank paper for review. The plain paper copy format will print the boxes around those calculated figures, so it makes it a little bit easier to read while you're doing your review. And you can use the W-2 history to verify individual employees. Correcting our W-2s. First, we have to determine what the cause of the issue is. Are my federal wages incorrect? Identify earnings types that are set up incorrectly. Maybe identify missing exemptions and fix the setup and then recalculate your W-2s to correct them. Are my state wages incorrect? We have to identify those earnings types that may be set up incorrectly, identify some missing exemptions, use initialize mode to correct the year-to-date subject wages in the employee history screen that they are correct, and then you'll recalculate the W-2. If you use initialize mode to correct the state wages in employee W-2 history, do not recalculate your W-2s. Are my tax amounts correct? Determine the cause of the problem, whether it's federal, state, local. Initialize the tax amount to be correct. Important notes. It's important that we find that there are problems, that we correct those issues, because this will help you when you're dealing with your 2021 payroll next year. And always use caution when using initialize mode when you're modifying the employee history. The W-2 calculation can be ran at any time and as many times as needed. Your inactive employees will be included. Specific box numbers. The W-2 control tab in earnings maintenance or in the deductions maintenance. Protect edited W-2 information in the W-2 calculation screen. If there's missing state employer ID, deduction maintenance on the W-2 control tab. If you're missing federal employer ID, that information is located in company maintenance. And that's in SL under the administration section under company maintenance. Microsoft does not have a copy 1 or copy 2 format. Use your copy D instead. And Dynamics SL uses a standard 2-part W-2 form. There's also a 4-part or 4-up form, which is nice to hand out to your employees. You can obtain pre-printed forms from Deluxe or possibly your local office store. You can print your own forms by using copy A, copy B, copy C, and copy D formats. The copy A for W-2 forms must be printed in the red scannable 2-up format ink. And you can print the 2-up forms for the IRS and print the 4-up forms for your employees. Electronic filing. Use the Generate W-2 electronic file screen in Payroll. You'll need to populate the required fields, calendar year, maybe change the path in which the file is being generated to so you can easily locate it. Use your transmitter PIN that's provided by the Social Security Administration and your contact information. The company identification fields default from that company maintenance, but it can be overridden. Sending your file to the Social Security Administration, you'll need to follow the instructions provided by the SSA. The file format is usable by the AccuWage program, and that is a free software for you, so you can check the file for accuracy. Let's move over to Project Controller. Project year-end processing. Here's our steps. 1, we have to make sure all of our data has been entered for the current period, and we have to make sure all the other modules have been closed for the current period in the GL closing screen. So as a rule of thumb, your financial modules are always closed first before you close Project Controller. You'll review your time cards, and then we'll finish the processes: GL labor posting, labor commitment load, and pay labor interface. You'll review your expense reports, run financial transaction transfer, complete revenue recognition and allocation processing, execute your billings transaction load, complete your invoicing, and then close your period. Now, Project Controller can be closed at the end of each fiscal period, and closing can be done by fiscal period or by year. The completed process in the closed period screen, this is located in the Project Controller module. And this screen performs a set of control tests, checks that all the sub-modules have posted to the project, the accounting modules are closed to additional entries, all project charge batches are posted, and then the closing is blocked if there's any exception that it finds. Time cards are reviewed, and a warning message will appear containing the number of unposted items that are going to be carried forward. If the closed period detects that there's, let me start this over again, I'm sorry. If closed period detects that the current period is the last period of the fiscal year, the title of the begin processing changes to begin year close, and the closed period will close the year. If a year-end close takes place, the balance forward amounts are calculated for the projects that have balance forward switched on, and the summary records are written for the new year. And this is where you'll see it's the begin year-end close. Prior to closing, review your project maintenance records for open projects. Any open projects that should have their balances carried forward should have the balance forward at the year-end option selected. So balance forward at year-end. It's the total of a project budgets and actuals that are rolled forward as the beginning balance for the coming year. Projects that span multiple fiscal years should have this box checked. For annual projects or those that are rebudgeted each year, that box should be clear. If the year is closed and projects were not marked as balance forward, they can be corrected by changing the current period in the Project Controller setup screen back to the last period. In this instance, it would be changing it back to maybe 12 of 2020. Fixing your projects to have the balance forward option, and then you'll run the closing process again, and it will go out and pick up that information for you. You will review the fiscal period maintenance to make sure your fiscal periods are set up for the new year. And then you'll also review the week maintenance to make sure the weeks are set up for the new year. And the week maintenance is located in time and expense. Let's talk about accounts payable. There's a lot of changes happening with AP this year. The following screens have an updated 1099 box number in the grid. The voucher and adjustment screen, quick voucher and prepayment, voucher entry and distributed liability, document maintenance, and reoccurring voucher maintenance. The vendor maintenance, the 1099 info tab, an updated 1099 box number list, and added tabs for the 1099 miscellaneous and 1099 NEC are going to be added with edited fields as needed. The Generate 1099 electronic file has added support for the 1099 NEC, and the 1099 preview miscellaneous, there'll be changes to the existing report. The 1099 preview NEC, a new report is created. The 1099 miscellaneous form, there will be changes to that report. And the 1099 NEC form, a new report is created. For closing, review open AP files, print your AP batch register report, and review the statuses. I recommend that you also run this for the entire year to make sure that you don't have any residual batches out there. You'll make sure all your transactions are posted to the GL module. Print your vendor period trial balance and AP period sensitive aged reports. And you tie both reports to the GL trial balance. Confirm your reoccurring entries have been generated and released. Print the check register and aged AP reports. Close the year, and then you'll close your 1099 calendar year. So just as a note, if you don't close your 1099 calendar year, you cannot print checks in 2021. So we have our 1099 calendar year control. Vendor amounts can be manually updated using initialize mode. 1099 amounts are calculated based off of check date. And you can use the AP integrity check to rebuild 1099 balances. And your 1099 preview report will contain all vendors that are marked as 1099, but the 1099 forms will only print for those that hit the specified limit. And the last I heard, it's still $600. 1099 information is updated throughout the year. There's no extra processes needed, or required in order to print your 1099s. You only need to run a process if you're generating the electronic file and sending to the IRS. In accounts payable, you can go to your reports and click on the 1099 forms report. You can preview using 1099 preview or by printing your 1099s to maybe plain paper. 1099, again, will show all of your vendors regardless of the limit, and the forms will only print those that have gone over the limit. 2 years can be open at any given time for 1099 processing. Typically, we leave the prior year open and we have the current year open. For this year, that would mean that the current year is going to be 2020 and the next year is going to be 2021. You can click on the Options tab and select the box for the next 1099 year if the year you're wishing to report isn't the current year. So when we're going to change our 1099 calendar year control, you will change the processing option to purge the oldest year and begin processing. This process gets rid of our current year information and cycles the vendors to the next year, leaving the new year open. In this example, the information from 2019 is going to go away. 2020 will remain open, and 2021 will now be open for new information, which means we can print checks. 1099 edits. If editing is needed, correct the 1099 totals in vendor maintenance, and you will need initialize mode in order to make those changes. Normally these fields are grayed out, so once you go into initialize mode, you can update them as needed. You'll generate your 1099 electronic file, and you can generate the file for up to 2 years. And of course, you'll still have to have your control code and their basic information in order to generate that file. Here's a tip for you. You can compare your vendor history, total period to date payments for the year, and compare it to the vendor maintenance preview report. They should match. So most of the time, our vendors, if they're 1099, all payments made to them are 1099 applicable. So when you look at the 1099 preview report and you look at the vendor history report, the total year to date for those payments, they should match. Another tip, there's a few ways that we can determine that all of our batches are posted for the year. You can run the unreleased AP batches report for the entire year, or you can use Quick Query to search for all unfinished batches. And this is located in Quick Query under the General Ledger section on the batches query. Now this allows us to look for all batches in all modules. And this is also useful for month-end processes as well, as you try to keep your data cleaned up. Common issues. System message 532. This is because we didn't close our 1099 calendar year control and we can't print checks. The 1099 balances are incorrect for a vendor. We have 2 ways to deal with it. Manually by using initialize mode through vendor maintenance, or using the AP integrity check and choosing rebuild 1099 balances. And the current 1099 year was possibly purged by mistake. Reach out, we're here to help you. It will take a SQL update to set it back, so it would be 2020 and 2021. And this is the end of my slideshow. If anybody has any questions, I'm going to open this up to see if I see anything, you guys. Sorry. Accounts in initialized mode. See if I can read the whole question here. Oh. Can a transaction import upload 1099 information into a vendor's accounts in initialize mode? Well, that's a great question, because the voucher is typically entered with the 1099 information. So maybe instead of just doing a import, let me think about that for just a second. You might be able to do a transaction import into the vendor table. I think it would be helpful to know how many vendors you're talking about. So maybe that should be open for more discussion on that one. Let's see if there's any other questions out here. I don't think I see any more at this point.
I do see another question, and it's a question about Social Security taxes for employees who elected to defer those taxes from September to December this year. I think there was a special legislation to allow that this year. And will the year-end updates address that in any way? That's what this user is trying to find out.
No, not that I am aware of. And I've had several clients talking about it, and the amount was so small that was basically being removed from their check. and it's going to have to be paid back. So they haven't come out with any instructions on how to do a catch up for those who elected to have that done.
Okay. Yeah, I've been researching for that, trying to find out what the resolution is going to be for that also. And I agree, I've been seeing the same things posted.
It's kind of a gray area because I think, out of, 50 different employers that inquired about it, most decided not to even do it because the amounts the employees were getting on their paycheck was so nominal. You know what I'm saying? So.
Okay. So Karen, I see that question that you asked, and we can talk about that. I think that's the only other question that I see. Let me see. Do we update existing vendors to mark that they should? Do we need to update existing vendors to mark that they should receive a 1099 NEC versus a 1099 MISC?
I believe that option is going to be there for us to make that change. I don't think we're going to have to use something like initialize mode or anything like that to switch them from a miscellaneous to an NEC and or both. But without truly seeing the update that's coming out in a week, it's almost impossible to guess how it's going to play out.
I agree. Okay.
I know they keep throwing variables at us and we're trying to do the best we can to accommodate,
Right. I hope that answered your question, Jennifer. All right, I'm checking for some more. This one, does the annual subscription for SL 2015 include year-end updates and tax updates? I know you've talked about this already, Marco. Will you go for that again?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question one more time?
Sure. This question is from John Walker. He says, does the annual subscription for SL 2015 include year-end updates and tax updates?
Oh, okay. So it will include your year-end update. You don't have to pay for your tax updates. So they will be out there for you to download and install on your own. If you need some assistance with getting those installed, just let us know. We can help you out. But the annual subscription covers your year-end update.
This is for SL 2015.
That's correct.
Okay.
It's the one that you have to purchase.
Okay. All right, check it more. So this question is, so updates releasing, the update, I think what the question is, the year-end updates that will be released on 12/21 will handle the change to the NEC issue.
That's correct.
Yep. Yeah, that is correct. Okay.
I know it's been a hot item for everybody for about 6 months of how is SL going to handle that?
All right, the next question, are there any provisions being made in the printing of W-2s for Box 14 for COVID sick wages?
I have not heard anything about that yet. And I apologize. I will have to look into that one. I haven't seen anything on it. And, part of me wonders if the IRS is scrambling at the last minute trying to get things done too,
Yes. Yes, over the last couple of years, it's been that way. All right, let me see what else we have, Marco. I think that's the last question I'm seeing.
Okay.
So far, hold on. Right, I think so. Anybody have any other questions they want to pose to us?
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's everything.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for allowing me to do a presentation for you today. And I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season.
And thank you, Margot. Thank you, Katrina. Everybody have a great holiday season.
Yes, happy
And
holidays.
we'll catch you next month on the next webinar. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.